But if it's been a while since you've been over here, I'm going to start off with some good consistent clay, a little bit of moisture. Make sure that it's stuck on there pretty good, so you might want to seal it down there. Get our water on there. Left hand, this part of your hand, pressing in like a snowplow into the side. This hand, karate chopping down, so you're using the bottom there. And this part right here, the shoulder, that's real important. So we're going to press in and down at the same time. Squeeze out a little extra water so it doesn't stick. And just like that, you've got your clay center. Okay. Down here at the bottom, right at that little edge, it's kind of hard. You don't have much to work with down there. So you can take your rib, scratch that last little bit of clay away, and then this front knuckle, you can get that last little bit if that's going to throw you off. But the upper shoulder is the most important part right in there. Then we're going to find that center point. I always use two hands, so I've got my thumb and my finger working together. Trace that little line all the way into the middle. When the circle that I'm tracing disappears, then I know the tip of my finger is at the center, which is what I want. I don't want it over the center because then it'll get pushed around in a circle a little bit more easy. When you curl it, do your finger, get strong. Keep it nice and steady while I go down about 2/3 of the way. If you like the look of a foot on the bottom of the cup, you might want to leave a little extra for your cups. So I'm just going to go down about 2/3 of the way, and then I'm going to pull back. But this time, instead of just going pretty far, I'm only going to go back a little bit because I want to make a cylinder. And we do the bowl first because the clay kind of wants to go out, so it's easier to make a bowl than it is to make a cylinder. But to get the clay to go up and make a cylinder is the next step for you guys in terms of getting better on the wheel, trying to make things that are taller than they are wide. And a cup's like a little cylinder, so it's good practice for you guys. Plus, you get to practice, like making handles and things like that. So when I come back towards myself this time, I'm not going to come back too far because I don't want this to be bowl-like. I want it to be more of a cylinder. I get a good corner, nice flat floor, kind of press down back and forth in the middle to make sure I got that floor. And then left hand's inside, right hand's outside, one finger right at that corner that I just made. On the outside, I'm going to use my finger, my knuckle, my sponge with my finger behind it, but I'm making a little path between my fingers that the clay is going to run through. And then this time, because I want the clay to go up, this outside hand is going to be doing most of the work. It's going to be pushing in, and when it does, the clay has no place to go but up. If I push out again, or if I think like I'm pinching, I might end up with something that looks like a bowl that I stick a handle on and call a cup, but really everybody knows that looks kind of like a bowl. So this inside finger is going to try to go just straight up. And if I see this inside finger going out at all, I'm going to stop myself and say, go up straight. So it looks sort of like this. I'm going to press in and head up at the same time. There's my first pull. Got a little bit off. So I'm going to take my needle tool, finger on the inside, do the save. Gotta learn that. It's a key skill. Second pull. Get my sponge down here, and I'll use a little bit more of this clay just by pressing in with my sponge, and I got some of that clay up so that I'm working my way up. And thin out that wall a little bit more as I head up. Nice thin cup. Lost a little clay there on my finger, but it's okay. And this could be it. A couple pulls, cylinder, taller than it is wide, looks like a cup. Or you could come back in, you can start playing around with the shape a little bit. Now you can see right here why it's important to work with both hands, because I can't get my thumb down to where my fingers are anymore. So now I know, okay, I gotta use my other hand over here, so I kind of lay my thumbs against one another. So like if I wanted to go up and out a little bit here at the bottom. I can start bellying it out. If I press in a little bit more, I can start to give it a little bit of in and out shape. Maybe back out as I get up closer to the top here, so that when I tip it, it's easy for it to kind of come out. I'm not like going to have to turn it all the way over in order to be able to get it in my mouth and what have you. But that could be it. That little shape right there could be it. You can practice this one too, where you hold on to the top, put your finger on the top, and you can kind of roll out, or you can roll in, depending on what you want to do. You can even start getting creative with it. One of the things that we used to do in college was set our fingers off from one another. This would be when you're really feeling comfortable, or like take your thumb and press your finger out just above your thumb, and then depending on your speed, you can make like a little spiral on there if you go up at the right speed. So if you're going to do spirals, this wheel might be a better choice than that wheel in order to go up so that you're going up faster than the clay can turn around to get that little spiral on there. So that is it. I've got my cup ready to go. But remember, get that water out of the bottom so we don't get any cracks down in there. Compress that floor so we don't get any cracks. Before you take it off the wheel, just going to scoop a little bit of that clay away, which will make it easier to cut and remove from the wheel. Slide underneath. Pot lifters, nice and wet and clean so that they don't stick to the clay. Hook it underneath just like that. Keep them nice and flat. Little turn until it wants to start turning with you. And you're going to pick it up, put it on your board. You got one down, one to go. Now, day 2. You're going to come in, and the first thing you do on day 2 is you make your handle. You can make your handle all sorts of ways. You can extrude out a handle on the extruder. It's got that piece that's got all those little pieces in there, or little holes in there that make different handle shapes, and those are nice. You can just cut a slab, kind of soften the corners a little bit with your sponge to make a handle. Or you can pull a handle, and here's how I pull a handle. And what I do is I start off with a carrot shape. There's always somebody who's like, what's a carrot shape? Well, carrot's orange, and it has a shape like that, so that's a carrot shape. And you take it to your table, and this is pretty soft clay, so I might even let this dry out a little bit before I do this. But I'm just going to tap, and I'm going to turn, and tap a little bit more, and turn, and tap, and turn. Start to get sort of a square shape going. This is really soft, so it's stretching really fast. I had a buddy in college who could do his whole handles just like this, didn't do anything more than that. But most of us wanted to taper it a little bit more so it wasn't quite as heavy feeling. So we would get our bucket and get it wet, and get your hands wet, and a finger on the back side and your thumb on the front, a little bit of pressure, but not a lot. It's not really like you're squeezing. It's more like, yes, you may. It's more like the friction is doing the work for you, and you thin it out a little bit. I like